So I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm tempted to use self-deprecation to avoid obeying what God is calling me to do. Now, if you can relate to that, we're in good company because right now I'm reading the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah had the same problem. We see in the early stages of this book, Jeremiah receives his call. Chapter 1, verse 4 says, "The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were set apart, I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." But then Jeremiah, he tries to dodge his calling. He says, "Alas, sovereign Lord, I don't know how to speak. I am too young." But the Lord says to Jeremiah, "Do not say, I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you, and I will rescue you." So sometimes we may refuse to act on what God is calling us to do, and then play it off as humility. But let me ask you a pointed question. Do humble people say no to God? Well, of course not. Now, Jeremiah's response was not born out of humility. It came from insecurity. Humility and insecurity are two different things. But God is gracious here. He meets Jeremiah's insecurity with a gentle correction, and he makes him a promise. He says that he will be with him wherever he goes. Now, remember, Jeremiah said he was too young and not a good enough speaker to do what he thought God was calling him to do. And God's assurance isn't based on Jeremiah's age or his speaking skills. The assurance is based on the fact that God is going to go with him. In verse 9, the Lord reaches out his hand and he touches Jeremiah's mouth. And he says, "I have put my words in your mouth." Now, God's calling is not just for full-time ministers. It's for all who call him Lord. Follow after him to do that thing that he calls you to do. And that is where you're going to find your provision. So think back over your Christian walk. When have you most experienced the nearness of God? I would bet that it's when you're walking in obedience to his lordship over your life. Now, if you hide from God's call, you're also going to hide from his provision, because where God calls is where he provides. Now, God is the one who made you. He made you for a purpose. Now, just like God knew Jeremiah from before he was formed in the womb, God knew you from a time before the foundations of the world were even laid. Now, do you know better than him what he is capable of doing through you? No, of course you don't. He made you. He knows you better than you even know yourself. So don't rob yourself of the blessing of letting God take you out of your comfort zone. Because maybe, just like Jeremiah, God is calling you to a place where he will make you into the person that he has created you to be. So God bless. I hope that's an encouragement to you today to step out of your comfort zone, follow after God, and receive his provision. See you next time.